Hey guys, in this video, we are going to be underwriting Laundromat, and this is probably the most requested underwriting video that we've gotten. Is everybody asked us to underwrite Laundromat, so that's what we're going to be doing today. We just got one sent to us 20 minutes ago, so we took a quick glance at it. We redacted all the information, and actually, the person that we got this Laundromat is our friend. And she's looking to sell her laundromat. So guys, like I say in all the underwriting videos, we get permissions. So please do not. I don't want anybody to think that you guys can get us in trouble, but like we are close friends with the owners of the business. So guys, we're doing this completely for free, and I'm actually doing it with Jazz, who is a professional business underwriter. So, but Jazz, how long have you been underwriting businesses?
Like
Or how many?
informally, how many? Well over 100, like well over 100. And because I worked in banking and then now I do it for people in the community, like I just well over 100.
Easy, yeah. So this one we're kind of winging it because
Yeah.
I know laundromat is such a high demand. Everybody wants to know how a laundromat works. But we don't have the full information. But
Yeah. Yeah.
we're gonna play with what we have, just for the audience. So what information do we have so far?
So we got P&Ls based off this laundromat. We know it's based out of Texas. And that's about it. So it'd be a good exercise just to kind of see what expenses do they run into, what type of revenues that they do. We don't even know how much they're asking for selling it, but this at least kind of gives us a breakdown. We'll kind of go see what a typical laundromat P&L looks like.
Got it. So this will be a combination of entertainment, but also education. So, guys, don't take what we have complete for words. Like
Yeah.
take it as any advice.
It's a pre-flight. It's a pre-flight
Yes.
underwriting.
Yes. All right. Well, let's share the P&L.
Yeah, let's do this.
I think a laundromat business has just blown up ever since like Cody Sanchez started talking about it. And I feel like it's one of those businesses that just seems a little bit more approachable for most people. It's like no one's gonna go start buy a aviation business. It's like
Yeah.
laundromat is kind of like day to day. Like if you told me that I needed to run a laundromat, I feel like I could probably learn how to run it in like the first 30 days. But
Yeah, it's typically so I have a lot of clients coming to me, and the ones that say they want laundromat, it's the people that want to have minimal, be involved less in operations. Think about
yeah,
it. Your revenues are coming from machines, not employees, right? So you just got to be able to manage your machines and less so employees. So it's usually easier. I want to say just fully easy. I've never done it, but I would fully assume it's going to be easier.
oh,
Running.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see.
Sweet.
Let me zoom in.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what's the first thing? What's the first thing that you look at?
Okay, so thankfully this P&L is already in a horizontal, so we can kind of see like the 22 period, the 23 and 24. So top line is income, and look how much this laundromat makes. In 2022, they're showing $1 million of revenue, then 787,000, 795,000. I've never underwritten a laundromat that makes this much money.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I will point out two things that I just see right off the bat. Do you see how it says annualized and then this one says annualized? I
Yeah.
highlighted this one before I was redacting. So that means it's not the full year. That means it was a partial year and then they just expanded that out to what it would have done in 12 months if they had the full 12 months.
So
So,
wait, so does that mean like if January and February was missing, like they just kind of put a placeholder?
yeah, what we call is they prorate it. So they prorate it backwards. So like they would just kind of like they would take the average of that whatever they had the 8 months and then times it by 12 just to see what it would have done if with that they fill the gap with that missing information, which you never know how reliable that is, right? And actually,
Right.
before we even get to there, I think in 2024 I had seen look in 2024 they only have January to March. It's only 3 months.
Guys, we are in
So
2025.
So this is what we got. We got this what not that long ago, a few minutes ago, a half hour ago.
Yeah.
This is so this 2024 number, in my opinion, already is very inaccurate because they're using 3 months worth of data to make a 12-month period.
So this is where you need to have a tax return to verify
Yeah.
everything.
At this point, like you should for sure have 22. You should have 23. and the 2024 is either being filed like right now or like as of a week ago, or it's on extension. But I would really want to see it because that's where you can kind of verify everything.
Okay, I'm curious. Okay, 22
Sure.
the 2024, like we get it, like you could have filed extension or like you're still working on your taxes, so it
Yeah.
could be annualized, but then why is 2022 annualized?
My only guess here is if this is relatively new business. Like, what if they started in 22? We don't know, but like, I'm just trying to like, here's my mind just kind of trying to make the story up, and we'd have to verify. But like, what if they started in 22, so they didn't have a full year, where they
Yeah, that's
bought it in 22?
yeah, you could see that, but for them to go $1 million first year and then, 787 second year, we never
I
know. I
bet you,
mean, we're just
yeah.
starting out, so
Yeah. So one thing I did notice when I was redacting the information that they had really large companies here. So like pretty recognizable companies here. So here's my guess. They're not just a laundromat for with like a storefront where just regular citizens walk in and do their laundry. I think they must have contracts with big companies to do their washing for them. So I don't know if they have a wash and fold and they go and pick it up or how that works, but look at these clients. Look how big of the 787,000 that they made in 2023, only 138,000 came from just the miscellaneous, the random people that could walk in. All the rest of it came from actual humongous clients.
wow. What does that tell you? Is that more of a red flag because like 80% of your income is comes from, I don't know, like six companies, seven companies?
Yeah, like it's both. It's I personally would rather have had that 787,000 come from a bunch of people rather than being heavily concentrated in a few areas. 'Cause think about it. Actually, so 30% in 2023 came from this one company. Imagine if that one company doesn't renew and 30% of your revenues goes away overnight, right? That doesn't happen when you have a bunch of people coming in doing their laundry because if you have a bunch of people, one person leaves, it's okay. It's not like a big chunk just fell off.
Right.
So I don't know. In my opinion, it's kind of the strategy must work for them. But I do get kind of hesitant on that.
I mean, how important is the contract then at that point? Like the contract that you have with
Everything.
the company?
Everything. I would actually put like the value of this business would be so heavily emphasized on the contracts themselves and how bulletproof they are and how long that they are for. And if they're not, I would be lowering that valuation in my own head, my personal thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they also so they made so million then 787 then 795. I think so then they have cost of sales which all right, let's see. So there's supplies that they need to run their business. Don't really know what direct project is for travel and other. This is probably where we have to go back and start asking, hey, what's the explanation for each one of these? Cost of laundry services. They're showing a gross profit really high. This is before any operating expenses. This laundromat just kills. I wonder how much they're asking for this thing. If this is a two, three times revenue type of business, it's way over $1 million. Okay.
Okay.
Expenses. I'm looking at this. I would really be questioning why they had contract labor in their I assume with their first year, and then they don't have that. That's 26,000 that happened in here. Is that going to ever come back, or will it not come back? Um,
Yeah, like I would love to know what that contract labor looks like. Is it like fixing the machines?
yeah, yeah. It could easily be that. It could easily be fixing the machines. It could be if they had to get employees for whatever reason, and they just 1099 them rather than having them on W-2. I've seen that happen before. I've also seen contract labor, it depends how accurate their bookkeeping is, but like if they had to hire accountants or lawyers, but typically you'd see that in legal and professional. Do they have legal? Oh, they have professional fees. So I don't know. It could be anything, and that's the point of this. When you first get a P&L, is like start making your question list, and this is exactly how I would make my initial question list, right? Why is contract labor in 2022? And I think going back up to it and before we came down, another question I'd have in 2024, why do we only have 2, 3 months, right? We need the most up-to-date stuff. But cool. Okay, so do you see any other big expenses that came and didn't like, there's got to be some variabilities.
Um, my question is, if you look at repairs and maintenance, like
Mm-hmm.
it's like a straight, very even number.
Yeah. Wait,
Like,
so which one? Do you see this one? It
yeah, the
drops.
re- like no, like it's like a straight like thousand
Yeah.
dollars. It's like not
Yeah.
it's not down to the cents,
Oh, I see what
right?
you're
So it's like
saying.
very rarely like would you, yeah,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, what's the odds that you had a repair and maintenance bill of exactly, I get what you're saying, of 120,000 and 0 cents? Like, was that just a rounded number they threw in here? Or like we should probably verify that. And then the other thing I would ask is why was it 120,000 in the first year and then so little in the next 2 years?
right,
Maybe they went through a full reno. Like maybe they just redid all their machines in this one period or added a bunch of machines. And that I would probably say they probably renovated a bunch of their machines, and then now the following years it's you don't need it, which would be good. But like this is again, we would be asking these questions. Also, rent.
yeah,
Why is rent the exact same thing? It happens to be exactly the same 120,000 again for the next 2 years, but in the first year, annualized is only 10,000. So yeah, repairs and maintenance we talked about. I think the 120,000 again, we'll ask questions on that, but might be the big drop off is they spent so much money in 1 year that the following years you probably don't have that much maintenance to do. But
yeah,
the other thing is like look at rent expense. Like this $10,000 number right here is an annualized number. 10,000 in the next few years went up to 120,000. That's a pretty big swing. So these 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 are the biggest expenses on the business. And if you look down here below, like the business expense of 511,000, 364,000, and 414,000. So when we talk about $120,000 expense, like it's a massive thing. So anything that big, for sure, I'm asking questions about getting any sort of documentations for and saying why is it this way, why is it that way, and what are the expectations moving forward.
yeah. There's so many places where you can poke holes on this. Like if you look at
Yeah.
2000, let me see the year, the first year, 2000, I
Yeah.
don't know, electricity and water. Like
Yeah.
how can that be $0?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
And
it's
then
incomplete.
yeah. So again, this is why I really just don't like looking at P&Ls only. That like this is where tax by the time that the CPA touches it and files their tax returns, their book should be a lot better. So I don't know. There's a lot of variability here. I think we talked about the repairs and maintenance. We talked about rent, why there's so much fluctuations. You mentioned utilities. Yeah, water. You need water to run your laundromat. So I don't know. Yeah, why did they put $0 there? Um,
Yeah,
and then
I imagine it's just incomplete.
yeah, like, and then wages at the bottom. Like they paid a lot more in wages, 240,000. That last line right there, 239,000, and then it dropped to what, like half to 124,000, and then kind of went back up to 176. So why is wages going up and down, right? So I don't know. I
That is
guess
interesting.
when you open it up, the P&L, you start seeing revenues at 1,787,000, and then all of a sudden you start looking and you go, okay, well we got a lot more questions than just than what we probably initially thought of.
When it comes to wages, it could also be the like they might have hired somebody to like do the laundry for other people. So like, you know how like
Mm-hmm.
delivery services they do, like that
Mm-hmm.
could be that. But one thing that would like you and I haven't talked about this particular laundromat is like where is it located? Yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, it's in Texas, but like streets, like is it next to a college?
Yeah.
Is it next or
Yeah.
is it in a residential area where most people have their laundry?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's so much beyond just a P&L when it comes to underwriting that's like specifically with this one, it's like what condition are your machines in? Like are they brand new? Are they old? Um, what did that big repair and maintenance have to do anything with the machines? Um, I don't know, other stuff at laundromats, you made a good point, the location.
Yeah, because the growth factor, it's not like you're selling a product. Yes, you're selling a service, but it's like you're not gonna run a Facebook ad on your laundromat.
No, it's really location
So
specific. Yeah, what's foot traffic look like in that area? Is there any other competition in that area? There's so much other things. I know there's a lot of people that get into laundromats and they like to go look at the reviews, right? Like what does a Google
Right.
review look like, and is can we somehow increase that, and then would that get a lot more traffic into the business? Something that's doing this much in revenue, my thought process here, just on the surface, is that I feel like that they're not gonna have a big review issue and all this. Like, I mean, they have a full-fledged operations. I mean, just their expenses alone are 360,000, 414,000. I mean, this is just these are huge numbers. So they must I don't think this is really a fix and flip type of scenario, but I guess you wouldn't fully know that until you actually go see it and speak more in depth with the people.
Right, right, right. Do you have a is there a second page to this P&L?
Yeah, they so I did see a few different things. So they made some adjustments. So okay, let's see. January to March. So remember in 2024 on that first page they were showing for like annualized number the full 12 months. So this is specifically just for that first 3 months. And what they did is the preparer of this P&L went out of their way to make some adjustments, meaning they were trying to make the inaccurate P&L a little bit more accurate for a potential buyer. So I haven't really looked at this. Let's see what type of adjustments they made. I see this 2,500 number to sales, so they, for whatever reason, added 2,500. They have this note one, which I saw some. Okay, undeposited
What does that mean?
cash. So undeposited cash. So there's 2,500 that wasn't on the P&L that was never deposited. So maybe I don't know. Maybe the seller just took $2,500 out of the business, put it in his own pocket. So they're trying to add that back. In full, like 2,500 to $196,000 number does not do much. It's like I'm not that worried about it. I wouldn't even ask questions about it. It's just too small for me to even care about. What's the next adjustment you see?
And only 20% of the business comes from regular clients.
Yeah, again, this kind of goes back to that 19%, right? Yeah. It's up to you whether you
Yeah.
decide that's a good thing or bad thing. I kind of don't like it myself. Um,
Where would you
I d
ideally want it to be?
I don't know. That basically means 80% of your other revenues comes from major contracts. There is a benefit to that. Like, okay, you don't have to really worry about other things. Like you have your, as long as you make your five, what is that? One, two, three, four, five, six accounts really happy that you'll be fine. So there is like, in a way, you could view it as a good thing. I just go, what it happens if the one of them just walks away? Like I just don't like that. I just don't like that. You're almost at their
Yeah.
mercy. Um, so yeah, 80%, I don't know. To me, that's a very uncomfortable number to have an 80-20 split, like maybe 50-50. I would really want it the other way around, like 60-70% coming from regular customers, and then like yeah, it would still be a big chunk, like 40-30%, but it's not gonna kill you overnight. Like if one of these people walk away.
They don't. I wonder where in a laundromat you can have so many additional revenue sources. Like you can have a vending machine and sell laundry detergents.
Yeah.
Where is
Yeah.
that? Where's the
Yeah.
ATM machine?
Yeah.
You know?
And we gotta ask them, what if that's in this miscellaneous?
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think
that's
it might be. It might be in that miscellaneous. I wonder whether they don't have another other. So they have another other income section, but they zeroed it out. Okay, because that's what I was going to see if there's another area where they could potentially put income. Okay. Um. Sweet. So okay. So did they make any other adjustments? So they make this $2,500 adjustment. Okay. Here we go. Here are some adjustments under other operating expenses. Automotive. So the business was had automotive expense. Whoever this preparer of this P&L is, they deducted that. So basically, they're saying that's not a true expense. And I kind of believe that. Why would a laundromat have an auto expense? I mean, unless they are delivering like the laundry, which that might be the case, then I would say, hey, like this is a real expense. You can't just take it out. But if this was like the seller just a personal expense, like like again, I think we spoke on another video, like fuel, like what if this was fuel, or what if this was something for their personal car and they're just like, hey, we just want to take it out to make better accurate numbers. I'd believe that.
yeah.
I'd believe that. And actually, look, they have a note number two, personal auto, right? Personal
Oh yeah.
auto. Um, Insurance. So they're saying on the P&L, the insurance was $6,000, but it should be $3,900 less. And point three is because it's insurance expenses for real property owned by owner.
So this is a owner that owns the real estate on top of that.
That's what I'm thinking. What if they, this is a good way, like let's think about it. Like what if these people own the real estate and they're not selling the real estate? What if they're only selling the business piece of it? So they're like, hey, some of the stuff we expensed out, but we're not going to sell the real estate, so we don't actually want to account for some of these expenses. That makes sense. Again, we don't know the full story, but I think that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
If they're gonna keep the real estate, they'll be paying those taxes, so they wanna readjust that expense to make to do better. Look at
But
this
you have
one,
to account for the rent that you're going to be paying instead.
and that's what we should see if they add rent here. Oh, they do. So before they had no rent expense, and now they're adding an adjustment. You would have an additional $30,000 adjustment. Three. Okay, so what was that?
10K a month.
0.5. Yeah. Yeah, true up for actual. So there we go. So we're getting kind of the story a little bit. That's starting to make more sense, right?
Wait, so they're saying that there's no rent for the owner because he's actually the owner of the real estate. But then if you were to buy the business itself, not the real estate, then you have to pay rent of $10,000 a month.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what they're trying to paint with the adjusted one. Like adjusted would be like, hey, what would it be for us if we had it, not for what's currently going on. Yeah, perfect. That's what they're doing. So they added that rent back. Okay, that makes more sense on the what was it? The insurance and whatnot. Interest expense. Interest expense. That makes sense. We would not be paying the same interest the seller is currently paying because they have their own loans and they own stuff, and we're not going to take that over. So they just say, hey, all that interest that we had on the past, like you would have your own. So this is kind of another thing. Like, yeah, let's wipe out the old interest expense, but then we would do calculations like, hey, if we were to get a loan or whatever to get this, like, what would it be for us at that point then? But that's why
Mm.
they took out that full interest. Man,
What kind of interest rate do you think he's paying?
oh no, you have to work that number back. 48,568. We would have to know like how much they paid to, I don't know if the loan was to maybe buy the building, maybe the loan was to do renos. Like, I don't know. 48,000 in interest. That's just interest. That's not the principal. So that's a lot. Like, that's
A
definitely
quarter of
not.
your expenses is just rent. I mean, interest.
Yeah, so that's a lot. So they made some adjustments to payroll. Taxes, payroll, number six. Payroll taxes adjusted based on wage expense. Okay, so okay. I know I'm kind of going down, but this has to do with this wage. So why are they making an adjustment on wages? Point number eight. A full-time owner operator can replace a full-time employee.
So that's if you would pay yourself a salary of $7,500 a month.
No, again, this is stuff we would ask. Okay, so it's saying a full-time owner can replace. So that's with the assumption that you're gonna fully operate it as a full-time employee. Do you see what okay? They're saying take out 7,500 of your wages because you can get rid of one employee if you want to go work there yourself. So now that adjustment assumes you're gonna work there. Are we gonna work in the laundromat ourselves?
Oh, yeah. Then where does 7,500 come from? Is that the quarterly? So 2,500 bucks a month?
Yeah, what was this? January through March. So yeah, it's 7,500
That's
times
assuming that you pay as the owner, you're paying yourself $2,500 a month as an employee.
as an employee.
Interesting.
Actually, this assumes that you get rid of an employee and you don't pay yourself anything.
Oh, so that's how much he's paying right now, an employee?
Yeah, how much he's paying probably a single employee. At least that's, and again, this is where we start verifying. So what you ask for is like all the payroll information of all your employees. What if he's paying them less or whatever? You would want to get information on that. there's a lot of adjustments that they're doing here. So, okay, I get property taxes again. You got, yeah, that's property taxes, payroll taxes, and these wages. So they've adjusted. They're saying instead of $152,000 that the P&L shows, you do these adjustments, and whether you believe them or not, you would actually end up with 108,000 expenses, which is far, far less, right? They always try to make it to the benefit of themselves, and that's what it should look like if you were to annualize that number.
Oh, so and they'll just times that by four and say this is the
Yeah.
prediction for the next 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, um, a lot of assumptions. So this is where you kind of go. It's like, do you trust the brokers? Do you trust the sellers? Do you need to make your own adjustments? I never would fully believe in anything that's being presented to me when it comes to add backs, adjustments. I would either, if you're good with numbers, go in and try to run the numbers yourselves and truly think like, is this a real add back? Is this
Yeah.
really something I'm not going to incur in the future, or is this just something that they're pushing as uh, like that you wouldn't incur, but in reality you're going to have some of it. So some of this looks kind of accurate. I would be going in though and really deciding because they made a $44,000 adjustment. Times that by four. That's how much they're saying your bottom line is going to change based off their assumption. That's a really
160
big
grand.
number.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
huge number.
$160,000 worth of expenses are saying, hey, that was just fluff. That's just fluff, and you're not gonna experience that. Like I'd be getting a lot of, uh, I'd be asking a lot of questions on that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, the
Um,
first 3 months. This kind of goes into more adjustments for other periods, but it can basically be the same thing. But again, so 2023 is annualized. If I just skip to the bottom. So this is for the full year. Look, they're doing a $236,000 adjustment. So they're saying, man, what was this for? For the full year in December, so in 2023, that you would not be paying 600,000. 236 is considered non-recurring or add backs, and you would only be paying 364,000. So that's 140,000, $240,000 worth of expenses they add back. A lot of moving pieces. A lot of questions to be asked, that's for sure.
especially considering that, hey, let's just say that three of your 6 clients drop,
Oh man.
and you're literally already so much underwater. So
Yeah.
do you think this will pass the SBA loan?
What an SBA lender would do is they would be getting legitimate documents to prove these add backs. They would not just go in and just believe. They don't. A lender is not going to risk their depositors' money on non-verified add backs. They'll go in, and that I bet you that number is going to look drastically different when a lender is looking at it than what was being pitched to us on the surface, like right away.
Yeah, interesting. And is that the being an SBA lender for years? Is that what you would do if you were the SBA lender on this one? You're
Yeah,
like,
I would be going in. I would so as what I would be doing when I was lending, and what I kind of do now, but just in a different setting. I get like I want the story. Like I will ask, I will get it's like remember it's like numbers are one thing, the story is the other thing, and they gotta match up. And you really can't make sense of one without the other. That's the first thing I'd be doing. When I'm trying to figure out with SBA lending, it's all DSCR loans. It's all cash flow based, trying to see if you have a enough cushion with your cash flow to cover the debts. These expenses and all this is a huge, huge portion of what your DSCR is going to look like. So yeah, I would not even look at this first. I would actually be going in myself trying to figure out what truly is add backs and whatnot. And here's another thing. I wouldn't even be looking at this. I'd be trying to asking for the tax returns. I wouldn't even, yeah, I would be at another level higher before I would even, when it comes to the financials.
yeah, yeah. What's kind of the ratio that you're looking at when it comes to SBA like loan cash, the ratio, DSCR
Sure,
ratio?
sure. The DSCR typically in SBA, you're aiming for, it's like usually about 1.25. that is what you would feel comfortable with. Some banks might be okay at 1.15, but with the current lending market, it's a lot less 1.15, and probably banks actually going the other direction. They're probably going to want 1.25, 1.5, maybe even higher right now, just because they want enough cushion because it's tough out there. Businesses are going under. They want to make sure that there's enough cushion in case there's potential issues. We talked about it a little bit, like tariffs and whatnot. What is that going to look like? Is that going to hurt businesses in the future? Is that going to benefit business in the future? And I don't, it's probably going to hurt. So they're probably going to want to see even more cushion, right? So yeah, DSCR probably, I would say 1.5 is what I'd aim for.
Well, that's really high.
1.5, yeah.
Yeah, that means okay. So for those of you guys who don't understand, it's basically if expense is 1,000, you want to see that it brings in 1,500.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. If your debt service, yeah. If your debt service is 1,000, you want to see the business cash flow 1,500. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's $500 remaining.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean that was a very napkin underwriting, right? Like you say that
100%.
was you say that was a napkin underwriting, right?
Yeah, this is you got P&Ls in front of you, and then you're just trying to see if it's even worth a phone call.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you want to bring up before we kind of wrap up this video?
No, I mean, I would just say next steps in this situation is like if you go, hey, I like the business, I would start having your list of questions that go out. I would be asking for like, hey, when are we going to get the tax returns? Because we actually need to verify a lot of this. And with laundromats, you want to know what the equipment is and the serial numbers and the makes and the year that they were implemented and any other big repair bills. Laundromats are heavy equipment type businesses, so that's a big thing. You want to make sure you're not going to be coming up on some big repair bills in the future.
Right. Right. Well, guys, there you guys have it. Very easy napkin underwriting for a laundromat business that everybody has been asking about. So there you guys have it. We delivered. If you guys have any business that you guys want us to underwrite together, shoot me a DM on Instagram. We'll underwrite them together if it's something that we want to do in a video like this. And if you guys have any particular business that you guys want us to go after, comment down below. What kind of business should we underwrite? Should we underwrite, food business? Like you just let us know and we'll do it for you. So guys, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.